Okay, so we're diving into the world of budgeting today. Getting a grip on your finances, building up those savings, and yeah, maybe even having a little fun money left over without the guilt trip,
Well,
right?
exactly. And the best part is you've already started. You've been digging into those resources, you've got that knowledge. Now it's about like putting it all together.
Yeah, exactly. Like finding those little golden nuggets that it can make all the difference. So let's get right into it. I've noticed one thing that seems to pop up everywhere is this idea. Know where your money's going before you even think about a budget. But is it really necessary to track every single dollar? I mean, come on.
It sounds tedious, but it's not really about the nitty-gritty for everyone. It's about understanding your spending habits, your money psychology. We often underestimate those small, almost invisible purchases. Like, think about it grabbing a $5 latte every day on the way to work. That's almost $2,000 a year.
Wow, that's a pretty eye-opening way to look at it. It's easy to forget about those little things.
Yeah.
And speaking of perspective, one thing that all these sources seem to agree on is the importance of like setting financial goals. But how do you actually set goals that, fire you up instead of just making you feel overwhelmed?
It's about finding what truly matters to you, your values and what you want to achieve. So instead of this vague idea of saving more, think about something specific and exciting. Do you want to finally go on that dream vacation? Maybe put a down payment on a house? Those goals, that those become your why, your motivation. And then break those big goals down into smaller, actionable steps. Suddenly doesn't feel so impossible, right?
Right, exactly. You got to break it down. So this is where it gets really interesting for me. We're talking about turning these goals into reality. And I've heard about this 50-30-20 rule. Is that a good system for actually making that happen?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fantastic framework. Think of it this way. It helps you design a life where you enjoy today while also planning for tomorrow. So 50% of your income goes to needs those essential things like rent, groceries, bills. Then you've got 30% for your wants, dining out, catching a movie, traveling the things that bring you joy. And that last 20%, that's for investing in your future self savings, investments, maybe paying down some debt.
Okay, so it's like a visual breakdown, like a pie chart for your money. I like it. It makes it much easier to understand. But how do we actually make sure we stick to those percentages? Because, life happens.
And that's where paying yourself first comes in.
That's such an interesting concept. So
Yeah.
tell me, how does that actually work in real life?
It's a mental shift, really. Instead of saving what's left over, which, let's be honest, is often nothing, you make saving a non negotiable priority. So you set up an automatic transfer to your savings or investment account the moment you get paid. You're prioritizing your future self right from the start.
I love that. It's so proactive. One of the sources I came across talked about this envelope system. W- What is that, and how does it fit into all of this?
It's all about setting boundaries for yourself for different spending categories. You decide on a set amount for things like, say, groceries, entertainment, eating out, and then it could be physical envelopes or just a digital tracking system, whatever works for you. The key is, once that category's envelope is empty, you hit pause on spending in that area until the next month.
So it's like giving yourself a clear spending roadmap. Okay, so we've set our goals, we've got our framework, but as we all know, life likes to throw curveballs. How do we adapt our budgets when those unexpected expenses inevitably pop up?
You got it. Flexibility is key. You got to review your budget regularly, at least once a month. Life changes, your income might fluctuate, your priorities might shift. Your budget needs to be able to roll with those punches.
That makes perfect sense. On the topic of adapting, one thing that really resonated with me was this idea of starting small. What are your thoughts on that?
It's about building long-lasting habits, not trying to change your entire financial life overnight. Start with just one or two spending categories that feel manageable. Maybe it's eating out less or cutting back on unnecessary subscriptions. Once you've got those down, you can gradually expand and build your budgeting muscles in other areas.
I love that building financial confidence one step at a time. Now, it wouldn't be a budgeting conversation if we didn't address let's say, the big old elephant in the room,
Yep.
debt. Any advice on tackling that beast?
High interest debt, that's the one you want to prioritize. The snowball method is a great place to start. It's all about focusing on paying off your smallest debt first. Once that's gone, you take the amount you were paying on it and roll it into the next smallest debt, and so on. It creates this awesome sense of momentum and achievement that really keeps you going.
Those small wins can be seriously motivating. And finally, any advice on how to handle those unexpected expenses that always seem to pop up at the worst possible time?
Don't let those irregular expenses catch you off guard. Here's a simple trick. Create a miscellaneous or irregular expenses category right in your budget. Contribute a small amount to it every month. It'll act as your financial safety net.
A financial cushion. I like the sound of that. So there we have it. We've unpacked those budgeting basics and discovered some really powerful strategies for taking control of our finances.
You now have a personalized budgeting toolkit. The key is to put that knowledge into action.
Exactly. So as you start exploring these strategies, what area of your finances are you feeling most ready to tackle first?